Yes.
Who cares?
Yes.
Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Sheila, can you take attendance, please?
I will. Fairholm?
Here.
Olson? Here. Jay Peterson?
Here.
Peterson? Swaysinger?
Here.
Great. Let's see. We have just a small change in our agenda. Item 3 is listed as minutes, and that should be item 5. And item 5, recognized visitors, should be item 3. So I just wanted to clear that up, make sure we're all on the same page. All right. So I don't think we have any, do we have any visitors to recognize this evening? All right, we will move on. All right, we need to approve our agenda. Dr. Froke, do you have any changes to the agenda?
I just have one on my report. I'd like to comment on the good news bulletin from Associated School Boards.
Good news bulletin. Okay.
And of course, the dual credit committee appointment that would come under yours, under a school board, or unless you have it other place. Maybe you do.
Oh, I don't know. With those changes, can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Rachel and Tim, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. All right. Let's go on to the approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve?
Tim?
Second.
And Rachel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Unfinished business. Sheila, you have some information for us in reference to an amendment to the Lunchtime Solutions Agreement?
I do. A couple years ago, when we actually did the RFP for the food service, the wording on the last sentence of that paragraph was slightly different, and Sandra Kangas has asked us to amend that language. She visited with Lunchtime Solutions, and this is the actual verbiage that she would like to have in our contract. So we will keep cans happy so that it's such a minor amendment as far as where they look to obtain our increase each year.
So basically, we don't have control of our increase. We are being required federally to maintain the CPI.
The other one was a CPI too. It was just for the rural versus this one. It was just a different CPI, and it was for a different time period, where they use the January to December. So, and this is the one that we have been using, so. What?
And Jim agrees to an
We
amendment?
don't have any say on this.
Oh.
Sandy up there, I think Peter rides her over all these agreements.
All right,
If we don't get it perfect, she lets us know.
perfect. It's always nice to have that double check, right? Okay, so we need a motion to approve the amendment to the Lunchtime Solutions Management Agreement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Rachel and Jim. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Perfect. New business. Dr. Frook, we have the designation of legal newspaper.
Yes, with equalizer discontinuing, which was your legal paper. Now you need another legal newspaper to carry out the rest of the year, and then in addition, I'd ask for ratification of any legal notice that was published in the Plain Talk. I advertised the auction of the house in the Plain Talk in absence of a legal paper, and Jim advised that would be okay as long as you ratified that with your appointment of the legal paper.
So we need a motion to designate the Plain Talk as legal newspaper for the Vermillion School District and to ratify any previous legal notice.
Yes, for the remainder of this fiscal year, which is 2/15 to 2/16.
So we will still do this again in July.
We'll have to, because according to the way the statute reads specifically to school districts, school districts have to do it at their annual meeting.
I will make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Brooke, we have an approval for our physical and occupational therapy contracts.
Yes, we have a 5-year general agreement with the understanding that periodically that can come under review. And so Sanford has asked for an increase of about $2 per hour to take it to $57 per hour. So we're very pleased with the services for occupational and physical therapy that is provided, so I would recommend that.
Make a motion to approve.
Jim?
Second.
And Tim. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Like to rescind my vote on that? Recluse or whatever the word is.
That's correct.
Thank you. Recluse my vote. Abstain.
We're still okay because we have
Okay.
Is it rescind anymore?
So that was recluse. Or abstain.
All right. We have the acceptance of some resignations.
Yes, and if I may draw your attention to the screen, you'll have the resignations presented there. One teacher is included, and that's Cassie Kleihauer at the top. The others are classified or class advisors.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Jim and Rachel. And the board would like to thank each of these individuals for their service to the Vermillion School District and the children within it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. We have approval of new certified personnel.
Yes, also draw your attention to the screen for the listing of new personnel recommended by the administrative team. You'll see a number of these folks are elementary. Most of those are graduates of USD. I think Brianna Kotz is from, I think it's the University of St. Benedict, and she taught for 1 year at Trip Delmont. And,
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Jim.
Second.
And Tim. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Approval of summer personnel agreements.
yes, we have 2, and they'll also appear on the screen. Dawn Anderson, who is our ESL tutor during the school year, and Jamie Mulheron is the secretary at Austin. Now, they have their wage during the school year. to hire them for the summer, they would receive a fair amount less than what they received in their regular wage during the school year. And so they have requested, and the principals are recommending that these individuals be given that same rate during the year. We, as subs for the summer, we would have to pay them $8.55. During the school year, Dawn Anderson would make $14.40 an hour, and Jamie Mulheron $10.70. So would like to provide them with their same wage during the summer as what they get during the school year.
And they're filling in for the summer? Or how many hours?
Yes. Actually, Dawn would work in the alternative school, filling in for Tom Hotzenbuehler, who retired, or not retired, but resigned. And then Jamie would take Jim Lee's spot, who is out due to health reasons this summer. And so we're looking at, I would say 30 hours for Dawn and a week, and Jamie would be full-time.
And Jamie's is through July, isn't it? I believe. I was reading. Hers was through July.
Is that what it is? Okay, if that's on the recommendation sheet,
Yeah, I think it was.
okay.
And the principals have recommended that. Keep it the same pay. So I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Jim and Rachel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. And we have before us open enrollment applications.
Yes, you have two from the Irene Wakanda District, one student going from 9th to 10th grade and another student going from 11th to 12th.
Motion to approve.
Rachel
Second.
and Tim. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Dr. Froke, you're up with your reports.
Okay. First thing I'd like to draw your attention to in your packet or your information is the enrollment report. And you'll see the elementary schools are very similar to this past year. We're anticipating 181 students in Austin and 362 students in Jolly. And I'd like to also draw your attention to the class sizes. I think they're quite favorable. At the middle school, this past year, we had 292 that started in September last year, and that's what we're anticipating again for this coming year. Last year, it was 388 or 372 at the high school, and anticipating 388. So we're taking about a 14 student increase from last year to this year. Of course, the summer months will often see change. These numbers are based on the numbers that we had this spring.
What will be the fourth grade class, that's stayed pretty steady from last year's third grade class, wasn't it? Yeah, it was bigger and didn't see a dip like I thought there might have been.
Next
Okay.
The CTE house auction.
Yes, and that will be coming up Wednesday at 7 o'clock. We've had a few phone calls regarding the house auction, as far as people potentially interested in bidding on the house, and appraisers have set a minimum value on the reappraisal at $49,000. And difference between the initial appraisal and the reappraisal is due to the fact that we were looking at the purchase orders that were issued and on the first go-around, and then realized that we didn't access all of the amount that we'd authorized for the purchase orders, and so in reconciling with the supplier, we found out that we actually spent less. So appraisers would like to get our costs back plus $4,000. Hopefully through an auction we'll do that. Well, that is the minimum bid. There is, so Hazen buys the auctioneer. So Hazen is helping us out on a rate with that as well. So
What time is that auction?
7 o'clock on Wednesday, Jim. Yeah, so hope you can all attend.
It's going to be right in the CTE building.
Yes, yep, and that's just south of the high school. So,
Do we need to make a motion to change our dollar amount?
You already did, I believe. Didn't you make a motion at the,
No, we just did the reappraisals.
Yeah, we did and we approved the originals, was it 65,000? Do we need to do anything different now, or are we okay just leaving it?
well, you've ratified already earlier in the meeting, ratified the publication of the notice in the paper, and that contained the information regarding the new appraised price and the minimum bid. Is that right, Mark? So
Yes.
with that, I think you've covered it.
I don't know, maybe the principals will show up and bid too.
I heard the rumor the superintendent was buying it, so it's a mute point.
And do you have?
Okay, yes, I just wanted to comment. I don't know if I shared this with you or not, but I thought it was worth mentioning. You have, of course, your good news bulletin that comes out annually from Associated School Boards, and Vermillion School has 2 articles in there, one on the school constructed house and the other one on the garden project at the middle school. So always like to keep that positive information flowing, so. Yeah. And that's my report, Shannon, thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to talk about the renovation?
Oh, yeah, excuse me, yes, yeah, renovation's going fine. They've poured the concrete in the floors, and then they've shaved that off, so it's very level, and now the flooring guy is working now this week, and they plan to have that epoxy paint down this week, I think, is what their plan is. So that's looking good. The cooling units are placed on Austin, and if you walk in Austin School, you'll notice that the ceilings are torn out so that they can access that area to incorporate the heating units. So that's moving along well too. We had some extra building improvement funds, and we had a need with the Austin and Jolly front doors. The frames were rusting out on those doors, I don't know if I can say they're original equipment, but they've been there a long time, and so we replaced some rusted out frames and some old doors, and we're getting a modern look back to that front entrance. So I guess that's my report. Any questions, any comments on anything?
We have one more,
Okay.
the school nurse.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm glad you're keeping track of me here, Shannon, thanks. The school nurse, we've had 4 applicants. We had been advertising for LPN with social work and a social work degree, and we just haven't had much activity, and I'm thinking if we adjust that advertisement, we can get some activity rolling in that area, and that would be to identify it as family outreach. And that virtually does the same thing and maybe backs off on that degree requirement. So if you're okay with that, I'd like to make that adjustment with the advertising. Okay. All right.
Okay. Please.
Now, I think I came to my report, and
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Sheila, you have a couple reports for us.
I do. Both on the food service. The first one is just to let you know, we have 9 days of feeding at Jolly School. We're running slightly behind last summer, but ahead of summer of 2014, so somewhere in between. Not sure, we're a little concerned about all the heat come in the next couple weeks and if we'll get the kids out. The nice thing that we are seeing is each year it seems like there's more parents coming to actually eat with their kids, and that's really nice to see. Whether even if they don't eat the meal, they sit and visit with them and participate. But we are selling more adult meals also. Any questions on the?
What's been the daily average? Do you know that?
Well, we've had a low on a Friday of 150 and a high of 257. So breakfast for lunch was our big day. So it does range, but 150 was our low and 257 is our high. So it's kind of a mixture. Fridays are not always the best day. So.
Lunch schedule advertised, or what they're having for lunch?
Yep, and people can take it home, that type of thing, yep.
Well, 257 is,
That's a really good day. That's a really good day. That's actually our highest of the whole program for all the years. So that was a good day.
and it's an air conditioning building, so.
It is.
Kind of.
The gym was warm today, but yeah, I think the next few days will be warm. We're going to see if we can get some air circulating, but yeah. And I think it was more the people who were there the whole time. I was there for about 2.5 hours today doing the review, but the parents and the kids don't seem to mind the heat. It didn't seem to bother any of them, so.
We have some fans that we can throw in there to help circulate.
I know that
air
Kathy
better.
was going to talk to Todd today and see. The next agenda item is Peer wrote it's called the Summer Reading Program or Grant, and they awarded 100 books to 5 of the summer feeding sites across the state, and Vermillion was one of the 5 sites that did receive 100 books. So we've contacted the public library because we have more than 100 kids coming to lunch, and they are going to work with the foundation and the Friends of the Library and give us additional books. So Kim and Sue are going to distribute books next Monday, as well as Beth from the public library. But we will hopefully send a book home with every child on Monday. So we're pretty excited about that.
So make sure you eat lunch on Monday.
Yes, we'll have little flyers on the table, I think Thursday and Friday, so people know and can come. And there's all age groups of kids coming. We have some high school kids. We have quite a few middle school kids who have started with the program when they were in Jolly, and they continue to come. So we'll have a variety of books also. So thank you to the library for helping us out, too.
Absolutely. And the foundation.
Yes.
Thank you very much. School board reports. Tim?
We talked about the concept of having a staff picnic for.
Preschool.
Yeah. For
Thanks, Tim.
For the staff and their families to get the year started off well. I was talking to Dr. Froke before the meeting. Elementary open houses are going to be that Monday before school starts, so wondered how everybody felt about the concept of a Tuesday evening picnic. That would be the day before school starts. So I know it's a busy time, but I don't know what to expect, if that's something that we'll get good attendance at. I'd like it to be for the families and have some activities for kids to do and see what we get. But I know it's a busy time, but I'd like to try it and have just a catered picnic meal and would like all of us to be present and all the administrators to be present and get things going.
That's a great idea. I think it's a fabulous idea.
That'd be Tuesday night seem okay?
You're the one that has golf league.
I think,
Well, I'll give up golf league for a picnic.
yeah, and I think the only other option would be to do it during the lunch, during the in-service, but then you really can't have the families there. It makes it too difficult. So I think Tuesday
I'd really like
evening,
to try it with families.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
At, where were you thinking?
Cindy was checking to reserve Barstow Park because they'll be doing construction on the pool at Prentice. Yep.
Fabulous. And so who's in charge of activities for the kids?
I will be.
Good. Okay.
Or I will arrange it. I will not do the activities with the kids at the time.
Remember, keep your preschool since that's who default.
That's great. Perfect. Thank you very much.
I just thought that
All right, as far as another report, Doug is not here this evening, but he had requested that a committee be formed to look further into dual credit with a combination of the university provost and an appointment from there, as well as with our staff and PTO members. And so we currently have volunteers from the PTO, Catherine Birkeland and Carolyn Carr, and teachers Len Griffith, Patty Larson, Patty Rosdale. And Dr. Moran, who's the provost, would like to also volunteer as one of the professionals, as well as Michael Card. So we need individuals from the board. And now, Rachel, you're very busy. I've been watching all the boards and things that you're on. You're a little maybe overtaxed. And so I'd like to give you a reprieve on this particular item. But I know Doug brought this up. I don't know if this is something, do we need one or two people for this?
The motion read one board member.
One board member. Okay. So,
Since Doug's not here, I nominate Doug.
all right.
Second.
And I agree.
Okay, so we nominate Doug for the dual credit board. I'll be sure to send him an email and let him know that he has won that
And
place.
if that does not work for some reason, one of us can step in there because we want that.
All right, then we will do that. All right, now we're up to other reports, and I'm going to call on Jason. Talk about the training rule report.
All right. How's everybody doing? Good. All right, I'll entertain any questions you have. As you can see, nothing really jumps out at me as far as any huge numbers or anything like that. I can tell you, with the difference in the tobacco violations, that was simply a couple of trips into the boys' bathroom during the day, and that made that number jump a little bit higher than normal. But as far as the other numbers go, they're right, I mean, pretty typical. Could be just one party incident can make those numbers, go high or low. type of thing. And so I think they're pretty normal numbers, nothing that we have to get too worried about and things like that. But certainly would entertain any questions if you, the one I have on the number of violations, and then I have it broken down by grade level too, just to kind of keep tabs on things.
I have a question. I was having to get sport physical forms off the site, and so I was going through and I was reading information, and you had the document that basically had the activities listed and if there was an infraction for violations and things like that. And I was looking at them. Do you feel that those are stringent enough to be a deterrent for the students? I was just noticing a couple of them that I thought, this one seemed higher or more difficult than another one. You know, like basketball seemed low to me for first offense, whereas band seemed higher, and I thought that was a little odd. And so I was just curious.
Yeah, and that just came about based on when the committee met to go over our new rules, which we changed ours from, I thought ours, old ones, then now they were like 15 years ago, were too lenient, so we changed them to become a little bit, and they're just based on, I think the cutoff was 8 events. So if you have 8 events or less, first time would be 1 event. Anything over 8 would be 2. When you get into some of the fine arts, it's a little more, it seems more stringent because, for example, fall play, if you get, and you're the lead, it's a bigger loss for that. And so sometimes that plays into it, what the activity is, absolutely.
So you think the way we're set up currently seems to be working?
I do. And the reason I say that is when I look at the individuals that are involved in this, I would say 60% are non-participating in any activity. Students that are not participating are probably 60% of the numbers.
Okay.
So I think the handbook is doing its job as far as our activities goes.
Big jump in tobacco, are you finding it being more just smoking or chew, or
Chewing.
what type of
Chewing.
method?
Yep.
Have you had any issues with that vape? Is that vape?
No,
Vapor.
we haven't.
That's good.
Do you have to report this on to to peer also, or not?
Not this particular.
Not this
not the
stuff.
individual ones, no. The only ones we have to deal with are any marijuana, prescription drug type things. Then we communicate that with them because they're involved in the year-long process and all that goes along with state law.
This is only high school, right? We don't
Correct.
have middle school?
What's that?
Middle school?
I don't have that, no.
Okay. Okay, great. Perfect. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Jim McCullough, can you talk to us about our Tanager trademark renewal?
Well, in 2008, the Tanager's logo was obtained a trademark, State of South Dakota trademark status, and every 4 years it has to be renewed. So that happened again in 2012, and then again recently, and then we'll have to do it again in 2020. And if we change the logo, then that'll result in having to reapply with the new one. But this is information to show that we have the trademark filed and renewed.
I like it. Fabulous.
So, just so I'm square on this, Jim, it restricts the use of the logo to the school or whoever we designate.
We can give permission for others to use it, but that's correct. It is restricted.
So Jim can charge money if the Booster Club asks for that permission.
The school district can ask.
I recommend a brand
Whatever
manager
works.
to manage all that.
That one is Jason. It's my understanding the process is Jason watches the trademark. If somebody wants to use it, they'd go through Jason, has been directed by, I think, the superintendent. Is that correct? It's the process. Now, if there's questions, they discuss it or would bring it to us.
Or if we want patches or something made up. Okay, perfect. All right. Kim, thank you very much, Jim. Talk about our PLT Teacher Collaboration Survey.
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
On behalf of the school improvement team, we wanted to present you with a review and an update on the collaboration time. This was our task from the Strategic Planning Committee as one of their priority focus areas to pursue implementing some teacher collaboration time. So, as you recall, we implemented a pilot, 3 pilot sessions, or a 3-session pilot, I should say, the spring semester. And within that pilot, we had 2 timeframes represented, a late start and an early dismissal, 2 early dismissals, or 2 late starts, pardon me, and 1 early dismissal. That then gave us some exposure to both options. So we followed up with a survey of parents and teachers to see of that framework, should we proceed forward, which was the most workable for both groups. And in your survey data there, you see snapshots of both graphs from both surveys, and then some summary information on behalf of the committee. In addition, we surveyed teachers for priority focus areas should we proceed. And the rankings, the top 3 rankings are listed here, clearly the prevalent responses. More team time and collaboration, curriculum alignment and curriculum development, primarily with the new math curriculum, reading, new writing, goals that are being implemented, as well as STEM, science, and STEAM activities. And then, of course, technology is always a high response item as well. So your summary handout then just gives you the summary data, and then we want to give you some time to review it, and then hopefully by next board meeting you could proceed with some recommendations. We as a committee presented 3 options that were discussed through our team, and present that to you for next steps. So, question, Jim?
What is your preferred, did they come up with, you have 3 options, is there, here is what we'd, choice A, B, and C, is that in the order?
Good question. The first 2 options are clearly the most favored options. Early dismissal was clearly the preferred timeframe from both survey groups. And it was nice that in our parent survey, we had a pretty balanced representation from all buildings, rather than a lopsided, skewed perspective. So I think that that helps us feel like we got a nice general litmus test on that particular framework. The third option we presented was a blended approach, since secondary teachers primarily preferred once a month for frequency, where elementary teachers preferred more than monthly. And that's easy to understand. Elementary teachers teach all those content areas and have that collaboration and curriculum development necessary in all content areas, where the secondary teachers are more focused in their content. So that's why the blended approach was presented as an option that answers to the survey data directly from both groups, and gives a kind of blended approach, a hybrid approach. However, the cons we felt as a team were that it would be so confusing for parents, for schedules, for busing, that it may not be worth that option. Then the other 2 options were both early dismissal, since that's clearly what the data represented. 1 time a month with an earlier dismissal time, or twice a month with a little later dismissal time. We also thought that the calendar would have to be evaluated, should this be approved to proceed, that the calendar would have to be evaluated month to month, and busy months such as March with spring break and December with Christmas would be avoided, and we would focus on the other months for PLT schedule, so. But that would be determined as you decide how we should proceed.
Are all teachers involved in this PLT, in the meeting? And the reason I ask is because I was hearing from some teachers in the trial phase that they didn't do anything, which surprised me, quite frankly.
Well, that would surprise me also.
So I just didn't know if everybody's being involved in this particular process, or if it's specific groups of individuals that are more involved than others.
Good question. It's easier to see how the grade level teams have a large area of focus, or the content area departments. However, as building level administrators prioritized for the building level needs, we were able to kind of fine tune what each building needed. So I was not aware of anyone that did not have a target for the day. So that's good information. And the paraprofessionals were also involved, because that's ideally, that was utilized as a time for the special ed teams to do some individualized planning for their students' needs, because they have no other common planning time whatsoever, because they stagger all their breaks to cover all the student needs.
So
But department cross-level vertical groups in encore areas, such as the music department, the counseling departments, that was K-12 work. So those groups met as a department K-12. So I guess I'm not sure who the outliers would be.
there's always
That would
outliers.
definitely be something that would be addressed.
Right.
So Shannon, I would agree.
Okay. So if, for instance, a determination was made to do an early dismissal, and right now we have high school with late start block Thursdays. And I know the teenagers are going to blow a gasket if they don't get to sleep in on that Thursday. Would, Mr. Cameron, would we continue to keep that block Thursday, except on a week that we did an early dismissal? Is there a day of the week that is better?
Because of that, Thursday was the preferred choice of the school improvement team. Wednesday is better when you look at lack of activities for conflicts after school, but because of the schedule already in place at the high school, Thursday was the preferred day of the week based from the school improvement team.
So you would basically just do a reverse block on that? Okay.
So now we put it in your hands. Do you have any other questions?
Again, just to reiterate what Kim said, this is the first time you're seeing this data, so I would think it's important for you to have time to review it and come back at another board meeting and give us your thoughts as far as what you want to see.
No, I
As long as-
appreciate
if
that.
it's, would it be scheduled out for the whole year, obviously, then too? So when the calendar's published, these dates are.
The deadline for the
included.
calendar is supposed to be July 1st for it to go to print.
So the next
So we
board
have a
meeting
next board meeting that I think we'll really need to,
That gets us right under the wire for the time.
right under the wire. So,
Thank you.
So do we
Thank you
need
for
to,
the
do we need to give her the recommendation then to come up with like option 1, option 2, and how it would play out for the calendar? That way when we pick on whatever we meet, June 27th, it gives them enough days to get it ready? I mean, you don't want us to make up a decision June 26th and have to give them 3 days to come up with the dates for the year? Or
I
not?
think we could get it done, because we're not gonna make that July 1st deadline date for the calendar submission this year. I mean, it'll all get done, but we'll have a little leeway to work, yeah.
Fourth and all that stuff if it puts you too. Okay.
thank you very much. We appreciate the information. All right, next up, we have our financial report, Sheila.
Beginning on page 41 is the business manager's report, and the only thing that I was going to note was May is one of our 2 large tax receipts months. November and May are the big ones. December and June are the next 2 largest, and the rest are pretty minor. So as you'll see across the board, the local sources, the majority of that is the big tax receipts. And then in June, what you will see is a similar tax, about half of that, and then we will do the year-end shuffling. So next month's will look different, and I will walk you through that. Following that is the cash balance comparison, again, for tax funds, the general fund, the capped outlay, special ed, and the pension, just to see where our cash balance is in comparison to the previous 5 years. And then the same thing for the tax receipts.
I have a question. Do we know why it seems the tax revenue or general fund is down from last year for May?
But yet capital's up 500,000.
Okay, where are you looking at?
Page 41,
Okay,
or page 42, excuse me. In
Okay.
May, just your general fund
right,
for May was like 2.4 million versus 2.7 the previous year.
right.
Capitals,
And then if you go down to capital, it's like 1.5 outlay versus 2 million outlay this year.
I'd have to look at the
Okay.
capped outlay. I think the majority is we haven't made some of those entries, but the transportation is budgeted somewhat in the capped outlay, and we probably will not use that. The other thing is the project did not come in as high, using some of the dollars for asbestos. I think that was about 70,000. And general fund, we did use some of our fund balance last year, so that's going to roll through the year, because that cash balance will be less, because we used some of that. And then the tax receipts are on the last page.
For me?
In the tax receipts. So if you have any questions, the board bills do begin on page 45. We will have bills again at the last June meeting, just to clean up as much of the year as we can. That way it'll limit our payables for the year end. Do you have any questions on the board bills? Or on the financials?
motion to approve.
Thank you, Rachel. And Jim. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 10 on our agenda is future agenda items. Does anybody have anything that they would like to add for our next board meeting?
I'd like to put it sometime, have a committee to look at the facilities, or building committee, dialogue or structure.
Structure, yeah.
What structure do we want of a committee, and how do we assess buildings, et cetera?
Okay.
Send them off.
Then, of course, we'll come back with that teacher collaboration time.
I know the next meeting will be at the high school, but maybe some pictures of the cool new floor, if they'll be done by then.
We'll take a look at that.
Not that we can't show the viewers, but.
Anything else?
The other, I'll bring some thoughts on how we could audit the usage of the DDN to ensure things are up to date, and if that's our method of communicating to students and parents, how we can ensure that we're doing so. So I'll bring something for consideration.
That'd be great.
And what were we doing in reference to our advertising? It had come up in conversation before about trying to streamline it a little bit more.
Doug had visited with the university, and I think they'll be taking it on, I believe, as a fall project. But we'll have Doug follow up with that.
Okay, perfect.
But yes, we do need to continue.
Wonderful. Then we'll put those 3 items on our next agenda meeting. We appreciate you taking time to attend the Vermillion School District School Board meeting. Our next meeting will be held on June 27th at the high school library at 7 o'clock. And we are in need of an executive session this evening. And so I need a motion authorizing going into executive session to discuss negotiations and other personnel matters.
So moved.
Tim?
Second.
And Rachel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now in executive session.